Welcome back to the Generational Rundown, everybody. Today we have a bittersweet update for everybody. We were hoping to jump on last Friday. Unfortunately, our beloved 17-year-old Shih Tzu just suddenly had to be put down. Without going into detail, it was very heartbreaking, and we're just mourning his loss. Did not expect to come on and talk about it, but in honor of our Jojo, we felt we needed to spend a few minutes talking and catching up and seeing how we're doing. How are you doing, Alexandra?
It's just so sad. I try not to think about it too much because I felt like he was the cutest dog. He was just so adorable. I was obsessed with him. I would have you send me photos of him 24/7. And I just so looked forward to coming home in a few weeks to see him. And I literally would look at him every day on FaceTime or photos. So it just feels so surreal that literally out of nowhere, it takes some time to accept that, oh my gosh, he's really gone. He's not just in Connecticut. When I'm going back, it's very sad, and I really hate to think about his last moments. That more than anything makes me so sad. So I try not to think about that part. But even looking at photos of him, it's sad because he's so cute and I just want to hug him, and it's like, well, he's not even there.
Yeah, and the thing is, you're coming in a couple of weeks, and I kept talking to him and saying, "You got to last a couple of weeks," but joking. He was fine, and all of a sudden, this is how it happens. Sometimes they get sick, and unfortunately, have cancer and a mass, and he had some internal bleeding that just took off. I didn't even know out of the blue. So he had been sick a week before and recovered, and then a week later got sick again. And everybody that knows our family knows that I was like very, very much his caretaker and never complained about all the meds I had to give him. My biggest issue is that how do I get him to give the meds, because he was so stubborn, and because he had started to lose some of his sight mostly, and he didn't have hearing. His best sense was his smell. So of course, with certain meds, he didn't want to take any of them. At times he would be grumpy like an old man. Like, sometimes I want to take it, sometimes I don't. So we'd have to try different ways to get everything put into his food in a way that was kind of nice, where he could, enjoy eating the yogurt, enjoy his little fruit snacks, and just kind of hiding those pills that needed to be given to him to preserve his life. And I did whatever the vet said. And I do have to say, my vets were incredible. I had an amazing medical team that just had been amazing to me in terms of not overdoing things, always being on top of his care, never oversimplifying, but yet laying it out there for me, if that makes sense. So going into detail about what needed to be done, but in a humane, easy way for the layperson to understand. And at his final moments, my vet did tell me he was the longest Shih Tzu that had ever lived at our vet's practice, and the second oldest dog, one being a Chihuahua that was 18 and Jojo being 17. And they said that Dad and I definitely extended his life by many years. I look back at videos of when he was 12, and he never seemed his age. And he looked like he was an 8-year-old dog. And I have to tell you, that was one of my running jokes. We all look young, we all look younger than our age. And I would always say, well, you should see my dog. My dog's 17, sorry. And he does not look it. Even my dog looks young. And I went back and looked at a video that you had done a few years back, 3 years ago, and what a difference. And I think what happens is, when dogs age just like people, you begin to look at the new normal and recognize that, yes, they're not what they used to be, but you accept that new normal. And the one thing Jojo never lost was his connection to his family and knowing that he was loved. And that unconditional love is what's so heartbreaking, and we're all struggling with, uh, because they'll never be his personality. Yes, we can get another dog, but they'll never be our Jojo. And also, he was with us from you guys being 3, 6, and 9, now being 20, 23, and 26.
Mhm.
So this is a very remarkable thing to see. A lot of times people have more than one dog, one passes, they have another one, or they've had multiple dogs because the dogs don't live past 10. My last dog before this, I loved her, but she dropped dead at age 8 of a heart attack. And Olivia doesn't remember her, and Evan wasn't born yet. So this was a dog that never knew anything but the three kids and Nona and us, and grew up. And, even your sister said she's never known anything other than that dog. When she got here, she was 6. She doesn't remember really that much before. So you guys, your recognition is that you guys grew up with the dog in this house. That's what these memories are. So
And I
it's
would
been,
say we're a lot lucky. We're a lot luckier than a lot of people because you're right. Like in my eyes, it was just normal having my dog my whole life. Whereas
right,
a lot of people, their dogs died and they got new dogs. They had 2 dogs by the time they were 26, or their dogs didn't live that long. But I
right.
just was so used to having Jojo at all because he was with me through every phase and stage of my life for so many years. He just becomes like a staple. And so yeah, I didn't really realize, wow, that's actually really rare to have your dog that long, especially a small dog.
Yeah.
I feel like he could have made it to 20, but
That's what Olivia said. In fact, I don't want to make you cry, but the day that he got sick that night, during the day, Olivia and I were driving home. She had gotten a flat tire and I was picking her up, and she said, Mom, the oldest Shih Tzu is 23. I
yeah, I
really
look at
think
those things
Jojo's going
all
to
the
live to
time.
be 20, at least 20. And I chuckled. I'm like, yeah, let's just take it one day at a time. And who would have known that that night was when he got sick, and
Mhm.
when the problem set in. And Olivia said to me today, it feels like it was just yesterday, like he just died yesterday. It's been already 5 or 6 days without him. And, whenever you guys were going through things or transitions, or we lost Nona, or just things that went bad in our lives, or bad day, we always had him to cuddle. We
Mhm.
always had that little cute, happy thing that had one mind, that was to eat. He loved food and
Yeah.
people food. And towards the end of his life, even with the medical care I got, I was given permission to give the right food, but I was able to give him a lot more people food than he had ever had in the past. So, part of our podcast here is to bring entertainment to the public and have fun, but it's also real life situations that happen for you and I as a mother and daughter. And I just felt this was really important. It would be an injustice if we didn't bring up our sense of grieving and loss, and how, even though, we're going on with our life, and you just got a fabulous job, which we'll talk about next, but he's always going to be in the center of our mind. There'll never be a Jojo,
I wonder
ever.
if he is was the last living member of his litter.
That's a good point. I wonder too. I often felt that because he was such a big dog, he was a much bigger dog. His father was bigger boned, his mother was petite. A lot of Shih Tzus are, the Imperial ones, forget, they're under 8 pounds, but most Shih Tzus are between 10 and 14. Jojo was 18 to 20 pounds. Okay. I look back at his records and he was 19 to 20 pounds at times. In the last several years, he was 16 pounds, because as you age, sometimes you get thinner. But he was a real hardy Shih Tzu. And yes, I take credit for me being vigilant in his medical care. I take credit for my vets. I give them credit, saying that they were part of the team, joint effort. But I also do believe the third element of his longevity, besides genetics and the medical team, was that he was a bigger bone dog. And I feel like the dog I lost before him, Raven, she was the runt of the litter. Jojo was the opposite. Jojo was a hardy Shih Tzu. And I do believe, even though he had a lot of medical issues over the years, they were able to be kept at bay because he was such a hardy dog.
Yeah.
So yeah, that made me feel really good. And I will say that Evan was here the other day, walking into the house every day saying, I feel like it's a person that died. Every day I'm getting gifts that will never replace Jojo. But somebody put it to me this way: this was the impact that your dog made on everyone, and they knew your connection to him and your family's connection. I have received flowers, I've received wind chimes, I've received a beautiful stained glass picture, like, of Jojo that looks like Jojo. And then my girlfriend, the other gift I just got today that made me cry, was a actual photo of Jojo that was taken by my friend. She took it from my website, or Olivia sent her a picture. It's my favorite picture of Jojo. It's on my Facebook. And they made it into some type of memorabilia in a glass, and it lights up. You plug it in, and it says "Forever in Our Hearts, Jojo" or something. And it gave us chills. It really, to me, when I do get the ashes back, I may put them next to it. I'm not sure where I'm going to put the ashes, but it, to me, it was even is more telling than the ashes. It felt really like it was him. It was not just a
Someone
painting.
named a tree after him, which was adorable. in the
My dog walker, that's
or
right,
tree named after him now, planted for him. So that's very sweet.
in a national forest. And she had just become my dog walker in the last several months. And she said, Debbie, even though I only knew him as a senior, I loved him. He was like stubborn, even in his little old man way. He was stubborn with trying to get the meds and how you preserve and getting him to eat. And when he didn't want to do something, he did not do it. We had to be outsmart him or try different things. But yeah, it's been really tough. And I loved him so much. And this is also funny because a lot of times when we would do our podcast, I'd hear the jingle coming in the room and I'd look over you'd see me looking in the other direction because Jojo was coming in the room, but he didn't see me. He didn't quite see me. He just kind of walked in and he would feel his way through the house. I don't know how he did it. So any other last minute thoughts that
I
you?
think that's it. I think, yeah, we really miss JoJo, but we can move on maybe to some lighter topics. I know everyone out there listening has probably dealt with the death of a pet or the death of someone they love, so they can definitely relate to this part of the podcast.
That's right. That's right. And we both have people, my father, you've had friends die. It's just with an animal, it's indescribable. It's indescribable. It's a family member. It's a connection. And
Mhm.
I think the most important thing to take away, whether it's an animal or a person, it's grief. And everybody grieves differently and it hits you fine. I mean, it doesn't hit you fine, and then you're fine, right? You can talk about it without crying, and then something just you hear a song, you see something, and yeah, it's going to be with us for a very long time.
Mhm.
So moving on, I do want to congratulate you. You've since gone on a trip to Florida, which we're going to talk about. I want to hear about that. And you've landed a brand new job at the New York Post. So would you like to talk about those two things?
Yes, so I am now an entertainment reporter at the New York Post, and I'm very excited because I get to write and go to carpets and do everything I love for such a great outlet. And we're very big here on interviewing and original content. So there's a lot of things down the pipeline and a lot of ceremonies and award shows and a lot of opportunity for me to do what I love at this company. And it's really exciting to be part of like a smaller team where your voice is heard and you can kind of pitch things that you're interested in. So I'm really excited, and it's nice that it's in California because the New York Post is New York based. But who knows? Maybe I'll be able to fly to New York City for some things and meet some of my coworkers out there. So it's just the best of both worlds, and I'm excited to see where it goes.
Would they let any mothers go on the red carpet at all?
I would bring you. I would totally bring you. You can always bring a +1. So like I just have to teach you
Really?
how to hold the phone. Maybe you can just record me or something, and I
Oh
can
my God,
think you're my +1.
that would be great. I got
Really?
a lot of dresses I've been buying lately, so
There we go. I know.
I have this new store that I love, Baubles and Lace. And my God, I've spent so much money at that store. She has like the best stuff. And really, her stuff, most of her stuff doesn't even come in extra small. And I'm generally in extra, extra small, but her stuff runs so small that I can wear her smalls,
Take me
which
there
is
when
so
I
fun.
come. Take me there.
Oh, it's amazing. It's
I'm
amazing.
gonna go because
Every time I go there, she puts stuff together for me. And she has like the best stuff. I've gotten jeans there, dresses, shirts. And the prices are so inexpensive for a boutique. That's where I had my party, my wine party.
yeah.
So yeah, it's really good. So let's talk about, did you have your first major interview this week
Oh
with
yeah.
Lala? Let's talk about that whole wonderful excitement after our dog passed, how that happened.
Well, that was before, but so I got
That's right.
emailed by Lala's PR about doing an interview with her for her new show, Mama Still Got It, Prepping for Baby, in partnership with Amazon Live, because she always does those Amazon Lives. And so it's kind of showing her getting ready for the baby. And I was like, oh, I would love to interview Lala because when I first moved to LA, she kind of took me under her wing and I know her and I've hung out with her a few times. So I said yes. And we were going back and forth. And the rep for Amazon said, she's going on maternity leave. So this is going to be the last interview. It's going to be a phone interview. And I was like, well, let me just see what I can do because I love talking face to face. I love video content. I love interviewing. And I feel like those are the best interviews. It's so hard to get a good interview over the phone. So I texted Lala and I was like, you probably don't know this is me interviewing with you tomorrow. I just landed this job, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, oh my gosh, absolutely. Like, let's hop on video. I'll text
Well,
the team.
interrupt you, daughter. How does she know you? Let's tell the viewers how you made the connection all on your own. How did she
Yeah,
know?
well, I went to her book signing when I first moved to LA and I had just started working at Sir. So when I was in line and I went up to her, I was like, I also work at Sir. And she was like, oh my gosh, that's incredible. I said I had a podcast with my mom. So she had her assistant take my information and gave me her assistant's information so we could coordinate her coming on this podcast, which never happened because a lot of crazy things happened in her life. She had her daughter and everything. There was a lot going on. But I ended up going out with her a few times and like meeting her family, and they were all so lovely. And so she really gave me some great advice about Hollywood and being in the business. And we had the connection from working at Sir. So that was really fun. And then, I've kind of seen her throughout the years and kept up with what I've been doing. So now when I told her, oh, I have the New York Post, she was so thrilled and so supportive of me, which was so nice.
And it was a great interview. And the way you've done it is you've divided it into two segments, I believe. I think is one out or are they both out?
Yeah, they're both out, two articles, and both of them have different video clips that kind of go along with what I was talking about. And then I have more footage. If we don't end up using it for any articles, I'm just going to post them on my own so you can see her take on other questions, which I thought were really cool, like weighing in on Bravo stuff.
Right. I like that because I did watch the interview privately when you sent it to me and it was great. So if people haven't watched it, go watch it. It was amazing. And I didn't know you could report like that, that you could take one interview and then divide it into different articles. And one thing a lot of people are asking me is if you can find this on print, but I don't know if you can find these interviews on print,
It's
in
not up
print.
to me what goes in print. That's a different
Right.
department. So they do what they find is necessary to put in their daily newspapers, and it just
Okay.
kind of depends what they want. It could be in there,
Okay.
or it could be they kind of might focus on a different story that week. I'm not sure what they do, but they kind of pick what they want to go into print. But some of my stories they say they sometimes pull from online to go into print. So who knows?
Okay. Great. That's wonderful. And so, do you have any stories that you're working on right now that you're excited to pitch or anything coming up that people that you can interview?
Well, Beetlejuice is coming out.
Oh,
Beetlejuice 2 is coming to theaters.
okay.
And, there's a lot of other Halloween things. So I would love to get to some Halloween carpets. I'm going to put that in the air and manifest it. I think it'd be so fun to do some of the spooky movies and some of the carpets.
Yes.
So I definitely want to get in the
Oh
mix.
my gosh,
I think that'd be so fun.
that's your favorite holiday.
It is. And time is flying because I love summer. Summer is my favorite. I like being tan. I like being outside. I mean, I don't like being cold and pale and depressed in the winter. I love summer. And I just feel like it has flown by. And it's like, honestly, every year, it's like, I just feel like we all live in the same cycle of, I'm so ready for summer after Christmas. And then you think you're never going to want this to end. And then the next thing you know, I'm kind of like being pulled into spooky season. And I'm like, you know what? Okay. Like, I kind of am excited for Halloween. And,
What?
this is my little
Is that
Halloween.
new?
No, I've had it for years. It's
Okay.
a Halloween tree. But it's just like, dang, I can't help it. I'm thinking about pumpkin Dunkin' Donuts, pumpkin spice lattes, and maple pumpkin donuts. And I'm like, no, I want summer to last, but I love spooky season.
But I have a question because I always get confused with this. You live in LA, I'm in Connecticut. Do you really feel it feels like fall or winter or holiday season being in California? Because it's so nice. I feel like your summer not doesn't really end.
Right. I mean, fall, I feel like, I'm just watching the television shows. I'm painting my nails. I have the decorations inside my apartment. So I definitely feel it in my apartment. And then there's also like pumpkin patches in LA and mazes and movies. So I definitely feel like you can still get the feel for it. Obviously, if I were to maybe stand outside in just the weather, I wouldn't feel like it was
Right.
Halloween, but there's things I can do. I think that kind of really make me feel like it, especially
Right.
watching shows.
Okay. Yeah. And remember, I got you a lot of, well, I had gotten you some Christmas special Hallmark movies for Christmas time, but I really should get you something for Halloween because that's
Yeah.
like,
I know,
yeah.
and Candace Cameron Bure, she does all of, her Christmas movies, which we'll have to watch again. She's in two this year, huge.
Okay.
She's also doing a new mystery series, and that's
Oh,
airing in October. So I'm like excited to watch that mystery. And
yeah.
it's out right now if you sign up for an app, and I refuse to sign up because I want to wait until it's fall to watch that mystery. So
Right.
I'm like,
Right.
I don't want to watch it in summer.
Yeah.
I'm saving it.
So that sounds good. Okay. So moving on.
Oh, and I
Let
went to Florida. I was just gonna say, like, I
yes.
went to an amazing trip in
Well,
Florida, and I
yep.
went to Singer Island with people who were pretty much like grandparents to me when I lived in Miami, Johnny and Lourdes, and I had the most amazing time. It was truly my favorite vacations are working out, going to the beach, and eating dinner. Like that's my perfect vacation. A lot of people like educational vacations with museums and things like that and tours and guides, and I don't like any of that. I just want to be on a beach, and I literally woke up every day in a beautiful penthouse condo. I worked out at a private gym, obviously. I just walked, and then I walked to the beach because it's a private beach. I lied out on the chair all day long, and then I got to get ready for dinner, and I could do that every day of my life. Like
Okay.
that's just my favorite type of thing, just going to the gym and then the beach, and it's the perfect way to spend a week. It
And
was
you actually first went to Miami, right?
Yeah, I went to
Yep.
Miami first. I saw my friend Leo and I saw Crystal, my friend, and I saw her daughter, and her daughter is so cute and so sassy. So that was a really nice pit stop. And I had originally gotten delayed because of the Delta shutdown. And so I
Right.
had to leave for Florida like 2, 3 days later. But honestly, it worked out. I feel like I had just the right amount of time. I'm almost
I
like,
do.
what have I done with all those extra days in
I
Florida?
agree. I
Leo was
agree.
working, Crystal could only do 2 days. So I felt
Right.
perfect amount.
Yeah, it's great. Really great. And then you started your job, and now we've been watching the Olympics. It's done. I want to talk to you about the Olympics and all the speculation about if we think the judges were right with that whole gymnastics issue with the American girl that got her medal taken away, which I'm just shocked about, because I'll tell you my perspective and then you can give some perspective on your own. Then I do want to also talk some Hollywood. I want to talk about that Rose, Gypsy Rose being pregnant and all your thoughts about that. But going back to the Olympics, first of all, what did you think? Did you watch any of the opening
I watched
Olympics?
all of it with Johnny and Lourdes. So we had a TV, so I watched all of it.
Okay, so what did you think about the menage a trois? There was a big speculation about the way it was done, and also just some of the events like Lady Gaga performing, if you thought it was good, not good. What were your
Well,
thoughts about
I
that?
feel Celine Dion blew me out of the park. I was
Oh,
sobbing, crying when she was performing. I think she's such
favorite,
a
favorite.
favorite
She's my
singer.
favorite singer.
Yeah, and I thought she did such a great job. It was a beautiful performance. She suffers from stiff person syndrome. So for me, seeing that was just such an amazing. She'd like really overcome and come so far. She sounded flawless. So for
Yeah,
me, that was so special. Now, the opening ceremony, my thing is, why would you do something that you know could offend so many people? Like, I feel like, where is your PR? Like, wouldn't someone say, hey, this might offend a really large group of people watching, whether it's right or wrong or it's fun? Why even do anything that could be interpreted in such a negative way to make such an uproar? I was like, where's the PR? Nobody watched that and was like, wait, we're gonna piss off a lot of Christians.
I don't understand it. It's like when political candidates say stuff that is so stupid in politics, and you know it's going to come back and bite you in the butt. Why would you say that? To get more people mad at you? Just think that it's showing like no awareness,
Right.
no awareness of what the world's going to look at. It's bizarre to me. So I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
Did you like, I love the boats. I mean, couldn't we have just left it
I
at that?
love,
Love
yeah.
the rock group, the group
Oh,
in the mountain.
yes, I thought everything was great. I love that it was the oldest man in the wheelchair. I think he was like the oldest cyclist alive,
Oh
101
my
or
God.
something. He passed the torch along. So the whole opening ceremony was great. And then I was watching all of the Olympics. I love the men's gymnastics. Obviously, I think everyone loved them this year. This is the first time they've won since 2008. Thought the team was fabulous. I love that they're bringing awareness to men's gymnastics. I thought they were such fun guys. And then obviously same with the women's gymnastics. I feel like it's a dream team. And I love Jordan Childs. And I feel very bad for her. And also, it's kind of like I would almost be in the mindset of you already handed the medal to someone else. They've been on the podium, they won. Now I'm already home. You're going to be like, oh, you actually won. Well, the moment's over. That excitement in that moment is over. Why would you even really want? I guess you want the medal for your like your resume, but I'm just like the way it's been
So
done
you're
is so weird.
so you're talking about the women, right? Because we were talking about the men. Now
Yeah,
we're talking
Jordan
about the
Childs
women.
about the medal.
Right. So what I don't understand is they contested it within a second, but because they're saying it wasn't within the minute, it was 2 minutes, they took it away from her, even though she deserved the better score. So the way I would have handled it, yes, it was sad for the girl that originally was told she won the medal. Was she Romanian, I believe?
Well,
Um,
there was Jordan who won. Wait, did the Romanian did
or
Anna
Yugoslav.
Maria win it first, and then Jordan, and then back to Anna Maria?
So Anna Maria won it. Then they took it away from her and said, sorry. And then she started crying and they gave it to Jordan.
Oh my God.
Then what my brother told me is, and then I read about it, is there was a controversy after that, that they took it away from the American.
Yeah.
They said her coach didn't contest it
Mhm.
quick enough. It was within 2 minutes versus a minute. To me, this is absolutely ludicrous. And what they should have done, to be fair, is give both of the girls the medals, because we knew deep down that Jordan won by the numbers, but the other girl was misled and was told first. So what would have been the harm of just giving them both the bronze? Like, come
Yeah,
on.
you can't really do that, but I know this is such
Why?
shit show. I'm
Why?
sorry, this is so embarrassing. Like
Why
this is
couldn't they do it? And I also would want to know, who are the people that miscalculated it?
right,
Like, how did they miscalculate this? And now the girl gets back to America and they're like, sorry, we're taking it away from you.
right.
I don't think it's just from the prestige. It's the fact that now you're just, you have nothing when you know your score was higher.
I know. And now she's taking a break from social media. She's devastated. This is just too much. It's so chaotic. I mean, as a figure skater, what do you feel? Because I feel like gymnastics and figure
Yeah,
skating is very close. Like, what did you feel
right. So I feel like for figure skating and gymnastics, I always say this, like with the Olympic sports, it's different. Some of the sports are different because it's subjective, right? For skating, for gymnastics, I was a figure skater. And you're gonna have these judges basing the scores based on what they feel, right? When it's something like a swimming race or long jump or running, there's no object, what is that the word?
Yeah, there's
Objective?
you can't be objective. Like it's
Can't be,
literally you either
it's
win the
just,
race or you
right,
don't.
it's black or white, right? So when it comes to something that's more of your own perception, the judges are being their own, they're they're determining whether they think it's worth, the person did a good enough job. It's not just technical. It's a lot of your own subjection. I don't think that's right. When you have that kind of thing, then of course they should both win, because you're giving scores based on what you think who did better. But again, it's only your opinion.
Right.
It'd be different if if it was like for example, a swimming race, and the person, that would never happen because you would see the person got there fastest. You're not judging on their quality. You're judging on who won, who got to the finish line.
Right.
With gymnastics and ice skating, it's all an opinion. Yes, there's certain things check off the boxes, but some people might think, oh, I didn't like the way that was done, or the knee looked bent. And another person might say, well, I didn't see the knee bent. I thought overall the performance was better. So there's just so much more
It's like
subject.
Dancing with the Stars all over again. It's just like, how
Yeah,
do you judge these
yeah.
things?
So to me, I don't see what would be wrong with having them both get the bronze medal.
Right.
Now, I feel like, what do you call that? Subjectivity or objectivity?
Subjectivity.
Subjectivity,
Objective, yeah.
objective. So it's subjective, right? You're not, there is bias in some of it. Yes, there's technicalities, but there's a person deciding your fate versus you get to that swimming finish line, you get over the long jump, you make the highest thing. There's no contesting. So when it comes to something like this, just give them both the award. How could you take it away from someone that actually won? And
Right.
we remember seeing this in I don't know if you ever remember the Miss USA or Miss Universe, one of those pageants. Somebody was given a title and then they stepped down, or they misrepresented. It was taken away for the reason they had a background check or something. Also, the Academy Awards, they read the wrong name or something when somebody,
Yes.
and too bad. You need to give it, if you're not going to do it where they both get it, in this case, then they should have not taken away from Jordan whatever her name is, Jordan Giles, because so what, 2 minutes versus one?
I know.
That's the stupidest thing I've heard. We're not talking 10 hours, we're talking minutes.
Yeah, they made a mistake, so they should just give it to both to end this. This
Exactly.
is getting insane.
I'm really, really not happy with that. That just looks ridiculous.
They're gonna have to crack down when they come to LA because they're coming here in 2028, and
Yeah.
and this was the first time they had breakdancing in the Olympics, and now it's been removed. So sad for the breakdancers.
Wait, I did not follow that. I will be honest. I only followed a little bit of other stuff, but mostly gymnastics. Tell me what with the breakdancing, what happened with that?
Well, I thought there was a lot of great B-boys and B-girls, but the big thing is there's a 36-year-old professor from Australia who she went viral just because the moves were like so bad. She was like doing the sprinkler and like this hop, and she called it the kangaroo. And it just looked like, where did this woman come from? It looked like she's never danced in her life. She had no practice, but she did say she's really proud of herself for getting to the Olympics and doing her own self-expression, because she wants to show people like you can just have self-expression and do what you want and be you, and you'll be loved and accepted. Now, however, I agree. And I also think, look, she's already made it to the Olympics. Let her have it. She didn't win anything, but she was a good experience. I don't like that people are now trying to tarnish that and are digging into her background of how she got qualified in Australia. Now, the rumor has it that there was no qualifying race to get into the Olympics. And so she put together her own committee where her husband was one of the judges. And that's how she got passed to go to the Olympics, because she obviously like had herself win. So
Oh
it's
my,
pretty much like someone who's never taken a math class in their life, get someone else to take the SATs and they go work in accounting, pretty much. Her husband was a judge, so she wasn't actually qualified to go to the Olympics. So it almost feels like it was like a sham that she got past all these laws and rules to make it here. But like, she's already done it. So why are people digging? Like, leave it alone at this point.
I have to go and watch it. So, but it wasn't really breakdancing then, right? It
Yeah,
wasn't.
it was breakdancing 100%. She just
Oh,
didn't
okay.
know how to breakdance. So you should.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I thought you were going to say it was so great, the breakdances. Were
No,
the other?
everyone else was great. And I feel like they worked so hard, and I feel bad because the Association of Breakdancing is like, we were lucky to even get into this. Like, we're never going to be asked back. And I feel so bad for them. It was entertaining, and they wish that they had more cameras panning around the crowd, because they said there was a lot of crowd interaction. And the United States is the home of breakdancing. So I think it's
Yeah.
so shitty to stop it when they're coming to LA. Like, let's do it now. And
Oh
now
my
that
gosh. So
they're in LA, I'm like, why would you? They feel terrible that it's getting axed now.
they definitely are axing it. They said
Yeah.
because of her.
No, not because of her. I
Oh,
just don't think, maybe, I don't know why. Maybe they didn't think it was a must watch sport, or if it wasn't big enough. I don't know. But do you remember the Olympics at all back in the day? Like when Bruce
I
Jenner?
remember a little bit. I do remember Nadia Comaneci. I started with gymnastics and then I went to ice skating. I don't remember the one thing I will say Bart Connor, and I remembered that him and Nadia Comaneci ended up as a couple, but I do feel like, and maybe I'm wrong, I felt like a lot of them got tens. Like none of these people seem like they got tens. Like I feel like it's so much harder to get a perfect score. I do remember more of the floor routines and the bar routines. Um, but I don't remember as much as I should
There
have
was
remembered.
the figure skating incident. What was it, Tanya?
Oh gosh, yes. Hard.
What
That was
was,
the Winter Olympics.
yeah,
Tanya Harding and Nancy
Carrie.
Kerrigan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with the
Oh, I did
whole,
see Nancy Kerrigan when uh, you went to camp many years ago, and I remember seeing Nancy Kerrigan.
wow, her daughter went to,
Yeah,
was it Blue Ribbon?
daughter. It was no, it was a sleepaway camp. It
Oh, was
was,
it cheerleading one?
I think it was, what
Or
was it called?
acting, maybe there was an acting one or
Yeah,
cheerleading one. That's
it was
crazy.
one of
And
the,
what about Michelle? Remember Michelle, what was it? Michelle Yeoh, the really famous figure skater who
oh yeah,
was
what happened to her?
Michelle. No, wait, who's the figure skater one?
No, I know.
Michelle Kwan?
Yeah, yes. What happened to her? She married a hockey player, I think.
Yeah, she's
It's
a,
funny how your memories, like, I find it weird, like being my age and like certain things resonate with me, and then other things I just don't remember. Like, I do remember the Nancy Kerrigan. That was more much later on with the way they, they tried to hit her leg. That was terrible.
like, what was it? Like a pipe or metal pipe
Yeah,
or something
I
to try
mean,
to get her out of competition.
crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's how we don't have any fun scandals like that anymore, although that's not fun,
Mm.
but that was really
Uh,
juicy. That's a juicy.
but do you ever wonder, like with the Olympics, like all the people that are coming from countries that are communist, how they get to America and they're just like, well, they were in America, they were in Paris, but just in a freedom aspect, how they feel, knowing they're in another country that has these freedoms, and if they want to kind of escape, like do they keep them very separate? And I always wonder, and I was joking with your sister, I was like, oh my God, every time like somebody from China or another country that was communist didn't do well in gymnastics, and the coach would like look so happy, and I'm like, oh my gosh, is this a front? Are they going to be in trouble? Are they going to get in trouble? I don't
Hey,
know.
that's so funny. I know.
That, like,
And then you have the war between Russia and Ukraine. So like those athletes, I think Russia
right.
had to do neutral athletes or something to
Did
be.
they have anybody? I didn't think they had anybody from
I don't know
Russia.
if they sent anyone, but I know that I think it said that they had to have neutral athletes. Like they couldn't be representing Russia. I'm like, this is just crazy.
What did they do? Like gender neutral? Like, what, how did they do that?
I don't know. I didn't look into it too much. I was just, I don't even know if anyone ended up coming, but I think they just went as a neutral athlete.
Some of these countries are funny. I've never heard of them in my life.
Yeah.
And when they were riding in on the boats, which by the way was beautiful, it was just funny. Like some of them have like 3 people on their team, and they're just so happy to be there. We were talking, Olivia and I, about that whole swimming in the Seine River and how there was bacteria. That's so disgusting. There was a rainy day one day, and one of the days it was delayed because of the bacteria.
Well, when I was at the island, I met a French couple who's friends with Lourdes and Johnny, and they live in France most of the time they were at the island. And they said the government put millions of dollars into cleaning up that river. And it never got clean. So they're like, where did that money actually go? Because if you look at the river, it was disgusting. People got
Right.
and so they said our government claims that they were putting millions of dollars into cleaning this river. Like what happened?
Yeah, they definitely didn't do it the right way. So yeah, I think it was beautiful to see. There were things that I would change. I didn't see the end ceremony. I will be honest. I did not watch the closing ceremony.
Tom Cruise did his little stunt and handed
What
over.
did what did he
Like,
do?
I think he flung off the Hollywood sign or something. He did some sort of stunt where he accepted the torch and gave it to the mayor of LA. Now
Oh,
accepting.
probably like his movie Mission Impossible
Exactly.
or
Yeah.
Top Gun or something.
Exactly. So he did
Yeah.
that. But
A lot
yeah,
of famous people there. I saw a lot of people
lots of
watching the
celebrities.
Olympics. It was funny too. I'll mention this. You'll find this interesting. Olivia and I, we were watching the coverage, and some of the coverage, when you watch the British coverage, it's not nearly as good as when you watch the American coverage. So if you watch the British coverage before you watch it played back at night, because you can watch it earlier, the American coverage is way better. It pans to the people that are the family members like Simone Biles. But when you watch the British coverage, it's very different. It's not
Really?
exciting. It's
Why?
kind of lame.
Mm.
So, but the problem is sometimes we were too busy or not too busy. We just were too interested to watch it and didn't want to wait till nighttime. So we'd watch it earlier. And it was so disappointing
Yeah,
because you don't get the same coverage. It sounds weird, but it does make a difference when you don't have great commentators. And I will say, why did they use Kelly Clarkson? That was ridiculous.
agreed. I thought that was so
She's
random.
so
Oh, right. Who
annoying.
does have that talk show? I forgot. But yeah, no, I didn't think that was
Ozempic princess. She's a Ozempic princess. I found her to not be very informative, and I didn't really like how they used her
yeah,
as the main person in the beginning.
I agree. I
So,
agree. We have to tell the viewers a huge major update. In February, for everyone who remembers, my mom was going to get her second piercing out here in LA.
yeah.
And last minute, literally a minute before she was going to get it pierced, we went in and she just like, no, actually, I can't do it. Nope, I can't do it. And so I got my second piercing in honor of you. I'm sorry, my second. I got my like sixth piercing in honor of you. And then now it's been like 7, 8 months, and you decided the time was right. You finally mustered up the courage, and now you have 2 holes.
I've got them for the
Oh, it
people that
looks
are not
so
listening or seeing me online on YouTube. I love it
Looks so cute. You got both sides. Was it an
on
easy
both
process?
sides.
Like, what
And
made you
the
decide?
guy, I felt like I wanted to do it with Olivia here since she was here. She found the place for me, and I kind of felt like I needed to do something to kind of lift my spirits, even though no matter what I do, I don't have my Jojo. And I just kind of felt like I might as well do it. Life is short. I've been wanting to do it, not because it's a trend or I'm vain. I just felt like for me, I'm not going to do a tattoo. I felt like I needed to, like, we have a lot of new changes in our house, a lot of things happening. Your sister's starting a new job. You're starting a new job. Evan's going back to school. Dad got rid of his car. They actually picked it up yesterday. And it's something that I wanted to do for a long time. I always like to have more than one earring, and I never can make a decision of what earring. So I felt if I did another one, like I had these years ago, I had 2, and then I let it close when I was 20. I just felt it would be fun and sophisticated. And so that's what made me do it. And I feel like I went with my eyes open. I wasn't scared. I didn't make an appointment. I just drove there. The guy that did my piercing was so nice, very patient. We picked out the earrings together, and I decided right off the bat, I'll do a staple, not the needle. And he was so precise, like everything. And he didn't even hurt. It didn't even hurt. And I didn't have any pain last night. And I will say last night was the very first time I've ever slept on my back, I think. I normally sleep on my side or my stomach. I slept on my back.
On your back is so good for you. Whenever I sleep on my back, I wake up feeling amazing.
I felt easy. I didn't think I could do it, and I did it.
so good.
And I'm twisting it for the viewers. We're having an issue, Alexandra and I. She's saying you're not supposed to twist it. He told me, because he's a nurse, the guy where I did it, you're supposed to twist it. Both we agreed you're supposed to spray. I bought the spray. He's telling me 2 to 3 times a day, 2 at least, if you want to do 3, but he's saying twist it 1 time. So I've been twisting it once a day. I just started yesterday because I had done yesterday, and it's fine. It doesn't hurt. My girlfriend I had lunch with today saw it and said, I want this. It looks so sophisticated. And I want to play. I don't know. What do you think, Elsa? It wasn't even expensive. It was.
No, I think it's so, so cute. And you could do 2 hoops. You could do a hoop and a diamond now. I mean, it's awesome. So
Yeah, and I like the way he put it, not too far away. He said basically, he goes, you don't want to put it too far away. Sometimes maybe I'll just, if I have a big earring and I can't put one there, fine, but at least I have the option.
What do you mean? You can always put a small earring after a big earring.
Well, he was saying if you do real, which I don't think I have, if you have really big studs, which I
Not
don't
true.
have.
I have really big earrings and I have 2 and it's never
And
big.
you can do it without it touching? Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, this is so exciting. You finally got it done, and then now you're gonna come out here again, and maybe we could like do some earring shopping at Studs and
Exactly. I'm not doing any more piercings. I just want everyone to know I'm so happy. I just felt it was something, I don't know, I wanted to do.
so
And I'm proud. Are you proud? Are you
I'm
surprised?
so proud. I never thought you'd do it. Like, and you didn't even have an appointment. You just walked in on a whim and you did it. So
And
I'm
I
really
didn't try, and we got great footage of me you can go and see. Olivia was videoing me, and I think I actually looked pretty good. My cousin called me and said, "Oh my God, Debbie, you look so good for somebody that's grieving." And I'm like, well, you know what? I'm glad, because
you're hot. You're hot.
I don't want to
Yeah,
be
you can't
crying.
help that. You can't help that.
Well, I could help it. I didn't have to put makeup on.
That's
I
true.
could have just looked more sad and not so done up, but I just felt like, you know what? In JoJo's
Life
honor.
is short. Life is short. Like, this
um,
should teach us that, anyone could just drop dead at any moment. It's very depressing, honestly. And life
Yep.
is short. So we had our great friend Giovanna on here who we interviewed,
Yep.
the chef from New York, and she said dolce la vita. Like, she romanticizes her life every day. She doesn't
Mhm.
want it to be another day. She wants
Yeah.
each day to be romanticized. And I love that.
She's somebody that lives life to the fullest. I love her. I can't wait to meet her one day. She's an incredible support. Shout out to her. I have so many people writing to me, and she actually audio texts me about the loss of Jojo from Italy. She's in Italy for, I guess, 2 months. She is a senior dog, and we've become friends through our text messages and videos, and just having her as a guest on our podcast. And I love her and think she's just such a great dog mom. So thank you, Giovanna, for that. But you're right, Dolce Vita and live life and all the good stuff. So yeah, it
And
was a good.
you also got to go to the Doobie Brothers concert. That was living life. So let's hear a little bit.
That was before Jojo died.
But you were
Like the
living
night
life.
before.
So let's hear a little,
Yeah.
because that was a fun concert for you.
So the night before, I went with Dad because he had business at Zurich, and one of his friends wanted to go who's in the business world with him. So we hosted them in the box. And I have to say it was one of the best concerts because it was of my time. I love concerts, and I'm not good with, no matter what era it is, the 80s, the 70s, and 90s, 2000s, I never know the words. But I will tell you that regardless if I know the words, I knew every song of the Doobie Brothers. I knew every song. And it was one of my favorite concerts ever. My girlfriend Yvonne wanted me to get her a t-shirt. So when I first got there, I went and got a t-shirt, and I actually bought a t-shirt for myself that they had in a very small size that was like a pretty violet purple, that's just very simple. It said Doobie Brothers. It said like California, 19, like something, a part of California, 1974. And there was no mention of tours on the back, nothing. It was more feminine. Her shirt was your typical short sleeve shirt. Maybe hers was long sleeve. I think hers was long sleeve. Can't remember. Can't remember if it's long or short. But hers had all the tour dates. Mine was more simplistic, but actually more of a Debbie shirt. Like, it fit me. It wasn't like too large. And the concert was phenomenal. It brought back so many memories of when I was in my teens, going to the Hartford Civic Center at 16, 17, even 18, even though it was a 70s band, it was amazing. And can I say, the band members were incredible. The only thing I was disappointed was there was no Teletron where I could see it up on the screen. And it was hard to see from the stage because we were, in our box in our suite. But it was one of the best concerts. And I was pleasantly pleased. And I can't remember Steve Winwood, who the first, I call it backup band. That's so old school.
Yeah.
It's not called backup band. That's my time period. It's called the
The
starter
opener.
band,
The
the
opener.
opener. See, my dialect is different than you. Mother daughter generational gap. But I think it was Steve Winwood. He was phenomenal too. Phenomenal.
So
So it
fun.
was great. It was one of the best concerts, and I'm so grateful I went because the next night, obviously, Jojo got sick, but it was a great, fun concert.
So fun. I
Yeah,
love that. I feel like all the good music was from the 70s and 80s and 90s. I
100%.
don't feel like music is as good these days. Like I love the old.
No, I'm telling you, like the journey, this, I didn't realize how much I love the Doobie Brothers.
I
And I
know.
knew every song. It's just phenomenal. It's
Phenomenal.
just
Okay, moving on to some hot topics. This is so sad. This Ends With Us has been overshadowed by the insane cast drama between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, who is your everything. You love Justin. You
I do.
discovered him in Jane the Virgin, and you think he's so attractive.
I
And
do.
I love him. You want to hear something funny? My friend Christina, she just had her baby, and who I went to Cabo with Juliana and stuff.
She did.
Yeah, she just had her baby like 2 days ago. It's a boy.
Yeah.
Get a boy.
Did she know what she was having?
No,
She didn't do a reveal? Your
no.
generation always does reveals.
Yeah, she kept it. She wanted to be surprised.
Oh, that's phenomenal.
So Justin Baldoni was the first person she and her husband told that she was pregnant because
What?
while he was filming It Ends With Us, he was going to her gym because he was filming in New York City. And so she saw him one day at the gym and she found out like when he was like she looked and saw him working out. So she met him and she went over to him with her husband and he gave her parenting advice. And he was the first person her and her husband said that they were pregnant too. Isn't that cool?
Did you know that?
Yeah, she told me that story in Cabo.
That's incredible. You
Yes.
never told me that.
No,
I'm so jealous.
I know. Isn't that
Are
so?
they friendly? Are they friendly?
I mean, he's left. He's gone back to, wherever LA. But no,
Yeah.
the time being, he was always saying hi to her in the gym and her husband, and they worked out while he was filming the movie. So he seems like such a nice guy too. That's just
Yeah.
another story for Justin to hear. It sounds like he's actually a really good guy, to
Yeah.
be honest.
Yes. I agree, Alexandra. And what I
So we
heard
should
was,
build. Yeah, what have you heard?
yeah.
'Cause we should build a
So what
viewer.
I've heard is that from your sister who told me this, she told me this like last week, and it looks like it to be true, and they're saying it on Entertainment Tonight, is that they had a rift between Blake Lively's and her husband with him. That Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds had an artistic dispute that they wanted to change something because I believe it was written by somebody, right? A woman author.
Yeah, by
It's a
Colleen
book,
Hoover. It's a book. It's a
right?
real story about her parents' relationship. And
Oh, it is?
yeah. And
Okay.
Justin never even finished the book before he ran over and was like, I want to be in this movie. I love it.
And directed, right?
He
He
directed
directed
it, and
it.
I think he bought the rights to the book. I think he has the rights to the movie. And I think he has the rights to It Starts With Us, which he said he's not going to be a part of. And he threw a little shade at Blake. So yes, I think there was an art.
Oh, wait, what do you mean? There's an extra part
There's
and
the
a
beginning book called It Starts With Us, which is what she wrote. It was like it's back in time where the cycle of abuse started. This is It Ends With Us, how she kind of got out of abuse. And I think It Starts With Us is about maybe the grandparents' relationship or something. But I think he has
oh,
the rights to that book as well. And I don't think he wants any part of it because you're right, there's been a dispute. And it seems that he wanted to do the ending differently. The director's cut, I don't know, but they've done no press together. They've not been in any interviews together.
that's right.
He's talking about, oh, I think Blake's ready to direct. She can do It Starts With Us. And no mention. And I feel if there wasn't a feud, they would have shut it down immediately. Clearly something's happening. And I find it really crazy that now all these clips are resurfacing of old interviews from Blake, where she was rude to host, where she was dismissive, where apparently she had issues with her Gossip Girl cast members.
Oh,
She's
really?
fired. Yeah. So I'm like, is Blake a problem in Hollywood? I think I love her. I love Ryan Reynolds. I love their marriage. So I'm shocked by this feud. I mean, I don't know what really happened, but something went down.
Yeah, because thought that maybe when he was interviewed on that show, he was saying, well, we'll see, maybe Blake will do it. Now we're gonna go to Sweden on vacation, like we're tired.
Yeah.
I didn't realize when he said that it was
People
because he was
took
trying
that
to,
as a dig. People took that
yeah.
as like she wants the creative, direction. She's ready to direct. Let her.
Oh, not,
You
he
know?
wasn't trying to cover up, he was trying to make a dig.
Yeah, I think so because he said even the wife made a face when the reporter asked the question. And I think the whole thing was that he was a director or producer or whatever. And then Blake and Ryan tried to take over or they got into it. Blake wanted more creative, maybe direction or something or the rights. And so he's like, well, I think Blake's ready to direct now. She wants to make her own movie. Let her do it. I think
Got it.
it's a slight dig. I don't know. I mean, he's not doing, and he's now hired a crisis PR management team.
You're kidding.
No,
When did that happen?
a few days ago. And now I'm like, is that why all these videos are surfacing of Blake? But
So
apparently,
I never saw, I only saw one episode of Gossip Girl. Do you recommend me seeing it? I heard it was amazing.
I loved it. I loved Gossip Girl. See, there's some period pieces. They're not period pieces like in that sense, like historical, but I don't think I could ever rewatch Gossip Girl. I don't think I could ever rewatch One Tree Hill because I watched those live in the 2000s and they were so emotional and so good. And I don't think I can bring myself back into that. I'm like, I watched it once when it was happening in the 2000s. And I just feel like that's it. Like it was iconic. It was a time in a memory in time.
I need to watch it, and I need to watch Sex in the City. I never watched either
Yeah,
one.
that was great too. Yeah, not the new one, the old one. You got to watch it.
Yeah, the old ones,
Yeah.
exactly.
The new one's a comedy.
So like, he was in Jane the Virgin, and I think he's a great guy. So you think maybe it's definitely that Ryan Reynolds is being a jerk too.
Yeah,
Like,
I guess. I don't know what the dispute was, but I feel like on their own, I love them as a couple. So this is really saddened for me to hear that this is now what's been taken over because it's such a great, powerful movie. Everyone was excited because they read the book. So I'm like, what happened? What went wrong between them?
and so this is a true story, is what you're telling me. So
Yeah.
the author, the woman that was at the premiere, it's her parents, like her parents had an abusive relationship,
Mhm.
but then they go back in time to his parents, the husband's.
Maybe. I don't know what It Starts With Us is about, but I know that that's also it's that book. And also Ryan comes to the Prospect Theater because Blake and Ryan Reynolds live right near us in New York.
They
And so,
moved, yeah.
oh, they moved where?
They used to live in
Bedford.
Bedford. Now they moved even closer. They live in Pound Ridge, New York.
Oh,
Pam lives, so they live even closer to us. And they were just there, but they weren't there. We have a wonderful theater in Ridgefield, Connecticut called the Prospector that does a lot of developmental, it provides jobs for people with developmental disabilities. And he was there, and I thought he was there last 2 weeks ago promoting Deadpool, which I just saw. That was amazing, but he was not there for that. He was there to go to a movie with his children, which I didn't know. Because when I went to see Deadpool the other day, that's what they told us. He did not go to see Deadpool or promote it. He was there to see a movie with his kids.
that's
So we're
so
getting a lot of traction in Ridgefield from people that are very well known. So I was thinking, well, maybe she'll come to Ridgefield for It Ends With Us, but I don't think she's done anything
yeah,
yet.
that would have been perfect to do it at the
That would-
Playhouse or the
Right.
Prospector. Obviously, the
Yeah.
special needs people who work there are so lovely. I love going to the
Right.
Prospector. That would have been such a treat for
Amazing.
them.
I don't know why she didn't do it. Why she's not.
See, now I don't know what's wrong with Blake Lively.
Oh, but then again, he wasn't there for the movie. He was there
No,
for his.
exactly. And maybe she doesn't want to
Oh.
bring, I feel they want to keep a low profile
Yeah.
in the places they live. She probably
Yeah.
would never want to do a premiere like that so that everyone
Right.
is always on the lookout for her if she just wants to go grab a coffee at Queen Bee, you know?
That's right.
Wink, wink.
Promoting all this stuff in Ridgefield.
I know. That's okay. We can just wrap up with some Hollywood topics. We're talking about the movies. I mean, I'm sad about this. Hopefully Justin Baldoni gets to reclaim his name and him and his wife enjoy their vacation. We have a divorce and we have a baby. Two separate situations. We have Gypsy Rose is pregnant with a little girl with her ex-fiance, now boyfriend. And I just think this is wild. I don't know, because the whole situation was crazy.
Yeah, I don't understand. She was in jail. That she married the guy while she was in jail. Then she gets out. They live together. There's a feud about the refrigerator. We talked about this earlier on in a couple other
Yes,
podcasts.
and they had a show on Lifetime, which I think they're still on right now, about her life after lockup. And then all of a sudden she dumps him for her ex-fiance, who she had broken up with prior to, I guess, Ryan. And now she's with him again and they're expecting a baby. I mean, I can't believe she just hopped out of prison and got pregnant.
And how old is this guy and how old is she?
I think their ages are close. Let's see, Gypsy Rose is 33, and then let's see how old Ken is his name. I think, yeah, Ken Yukar, he is 31. Apparently, he's only like a year younger.
And what does he do for a living?
What does he do for? I want they must have met when she was in prison the first time. Um,
Oh, really?
I mean, because yeah, she went to jail when she was so young. There's no way that, or maybe do you think they dated when she was way younger? Maybe
I
she just
I
saw.
don't know. I did not read up, I'll be honest. I have not read up about who the guy is that she's with. All I know is she's having a baby.
Okay, so they started as pen pals while she was in prison, and their
Oh,
relationship ended in 2023
oh, so she was with this guy.
when she was in prison before Ryan. So they started as pen pals.
And then they got engaged.
Yeah. Then they got, I guess they got engaged and they broke up. Now she is split from obviously Ryan, her husband. So wow, I guess she went back with this guy and now they're having a baby. I mean, we're gonna watch the journey. I'm excited for her to break the cycle of abuse. Like she's having a little
Right.
girl, which is a little bit,
Oh,
it's kind of like, oh my gosh, you never had a mother that was good, and
right.
now you get to be the mom you wish you had. I mean, that's so great for her.
That's right.
And then we
Yeah.
have Cameron Matheson divorcing his wife. I
Oh,
love Cameron Matheson.
this one hit me hard because I remember seeing him when we used to live in Rockland County. I remember being in a store, I think it was like Toys R Us or a bookstore, Barnes and Nobles. And I remember seeing him, and he was such a good looking guy. I know he's on Entertainment Tonight. He does the hosting. He's on General Hospital, which I don't watch anymore. Haven't watched my soap opera in years. Can't believe it. And now he's divorcing his wife. And I'm almost wondering, like, I mean, he had the cancer journey. I almost feel like it reminds me of Hugh Jackman and his wife that was married for so many years, stood by, through not that Hugh Jackman had any problems, but just watching the career grow. And I don't know if Cameron Matheson, I could be wrong, but I don't think his ex-wife to be is an actress, right? I don't think she's in the spotlight, but I'm wondering what went wrong. And if you happen to watch Kelly Ripa or listen to Kelly Ripa, her podcast, because she was on All My Children with him. So I wonder, like, it just, it ran its course, or did something happen?
Well, he has now been spotted out with an esthetician. They got lunch together. She was at his house. So I think he might be dating this girl, or it could obviously just be his friend, but he stepped out looking pretty chummy with a pretty girl. And so I don't know. I feel that maybe it ran its course, like 22 years. Maybe there were things behind the scenes we didn't see. Maybe the cancer kept them together longer. But I just think it's so wild that they've separated right before like I think it was before their 24 days after their 22nd wedding anniversary, they put out the statement. And
Oh my
I
gosh.
kind of feel the same. I feel like they just drifted apart. I don't think anything happened with Hugh Jackman and his wife, and I think they just drifted. I think maybe when the kids get older and move out, you kind of either have things in common or you have to divorce, kind of like Mauricio and Kyle.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. You're absolutely right.
I mean, their kids were born in 2003 and 2006. So, I mean, they're not like in their 30s. They're kind of still younger, but
I feel like the ultimate couple is Kevin Bacon and Kira Sedgwick, and the other ultimate couple is Rob Lowe and his wife.
yes.
I think they are staples in Hollywood.
And Rita Wilson and Tom Hanks.
Yes.
We always forget them.
Yeah.
We've talked about
Yes.
acting before, and I
I
said,
mean, I'm on the fence about John Travolta and Kelly Preston
well,
because
she's died,
she
so
died, and I had heard rumors about his sexuality, and I just feel like I don't know if I really believe that was a real marriage or not. But just my thoughts in Hollywood. What do I know?
oh, and Robert Downey Jr. and Susan, his wife.
Oh, yes, they're very
They're
connected.
great too.
She helped him. Look, I look like I'm not dressed. I'm sorry. I've got this outfit that I'm wearing for those viewers, and it looks like my top is going like I'm in a bathrobe or something. Okay, put it back on my shoulder.
But they are,
Anyway, I got to see a friend today that I was really excited to see. I hadn't seen her in 13 years. We met for lunch, and I put on a pretty outfit to try to make myself feel better.
yeah.
So I didn't have a chance to change, but I'm so glad we got to film today and cover all these great, great details. Anything else left unsaid? I mean, we could talk about next time Acapulco. I've been watching that.
Right.
Great.
tell
Great
the
show.
viewers, for anyone listening out there, we have a show recommendation that you should binge before summer ends.
Oh, so great. So it's a show
October.
that my other daughter has already watched and she's rewatching it with us. And it reminds me a lot of Jane the Virgin. It's amazing. It takes place in Acapulco and it's a flashback of a gentleman that started out with nothing and his life in maybe the 80s.
The 80s,
And
it's the 80s.
80s,
Los
yep, love
Colinas,
it.
a
And then
hotel.
growing up
Yes.
and showing how he, transformed his life into this very successful business.
And it's a comedy. It's funny.
And it's comedy and it's just very addicting and it's really fun because I won't lie, I kind of grieved when Jane the Virgin was done. I was like, first it was Schitt's Creek. I was sad we watched that, me, Vinny, and Olivia, and then that ended, and Evan, and then when that ended, we were also watching at the same time without Evan, the Jane the Virgin. And we watched it for years. Again, she had watched it before our daughter and she was rewatching it with us. And there was all these twists and turns. And now I feel like I'm watching kind of a Jane the Virgin, that type of
It has the
comedy,
funniness, it
colors,
has
the
the
flair.
telenovela, the flair. I love it.
Right,
They speak
right.
Spanish. It's in Mexico. It makes it appreciate the culture. I think it's such
Yeah.
a fun show,
So
and I
great.
definitely recommend. It's light, it's funny, and
Okay.
it keeps you engaged. So everyone, go watch that. Until next time.
Exactly.
All right, bye guys.
Bye, everybody. Hopefully next week we'll have some great topics for everyone. And yeah, we're just happy we were able to get this podcast done, and we're excited to be back.
Yeah, we're
Bye.
excited to be back. We have a lot of great content coming for the fall, winter months. Get cozy and listen to us. So thank you.
Bye.